Welcome to another video in the strategic management series. In this session, we will be learning about what are the challenges in formulating a strategy, how we arrive at a strategy, and how we implement and control the strategy. A brief introduction to all these concepts. So, as we all know, strategic management is the process of developing strategies based on the organization's objectives, how or in what direction the organization is willing to move, right? And these organizational directions, as we can call it, they are derived from the intent of the organization, that is, where the organization wants to reach, right? So, there is a debate in this manner that whether strategy formulation or the entire strategic management process should either start from where we are to reach where we want to be, or should we backtrace and see, in order to reach where we are, where we want to be, what are the things that we will have to do right now. So there are these two conflicting approaches which uh, organizations have been following in their own strategy formulation and implementation processes. But whatever it is, um, the basic idea of strategic management is, you can say, it is in a way derived from this intent of the organization in one way or the other, whether you start from it or whether you reach there. Finally, the ultimate goal of the organization is what forms or shapes this strategic formulation process. So, what are the few challenges that an organization could face while formulating this kind of strategies? When we are trying to formulate a strategy, it is definitely in order to meet a certain goal. Now, in order to meet that goal, we'll have to undergo a few processes. So, naturally, the environment in which the organization or that firm is operating, both internal as well as external. Internal could be its own suppliers, its own employees, the internal policies, the culture of the organization, all the internal environments, whatever resources they have, financial or non-financial, will affect the way they formulate the strategy, right? Uh, at the same time, the external, the technological changes that is happening around them, the political changes, the legal changes, the competitors, their competitors, how they are doing things, how they are behaving in the market, and how customers are responding to these kinds of changes in the environment, they are all, you can say, what you can say, challenges in formulating these strategies, right? So the process of strategy formulation can be broadly defined as a set of management decisions and actions that determine the long run direction, that is, the, what you can say, the path which the company is intending to take in the long run, as well as the performance of our organization. So strategy formulation, none needless to say, it is a very dynamic and continuous process. You will have a blueprint, you might have an initial plan of what you would do in order to achieve where you want to be, but once you implement, there is a constant process of monitoring how your strategy is actually performing and making adjustments so that ultimately you reach the goal or the end, you reach the intent of all this whatever things that you are doing. So, as we said, it is definitely, you have to identify a sequence the a few elements or a few activities in such a way that finally you reach from where you are to where you're at. So this identification and sequencing of elements, they encounter two major problems. First is that um, we have talked about we talked about Dr. Michelle Potter of Harvard Business School in the last video. Similarly, there are other professors, other economists, and brilliant minds who also talk about strategy. So, among these various authors who have put forth their understanding of what strategy is and how to formulate what all the things that an organization should consider while formulating a strategy, in identifying what they are best at doing and how can they be better at whatever they're doing. So there is no unanimity, as I said, right? Some authors, they say that you should backtrace from where you actually your goal, and then how to achieve those goals, and then for achieving those goals, what are all the resources you might need. There are people who think like that, authors who think like that. At the same time, a few authors suggest that find out what you have and what you are best at doing, and then you know, improve upon that to reach a better goal. Like that also there is, like, you can think of it as, like for example, let us take the example of Apple. Initially they were into the, what you can say, the PC, right, computers, right? So that is what they were best at. Now, in one such thing, you would have thought that okay, they have their PCs, or that's what happened actually to Microsoft. Microsoft was solely into their PCs, right? Their strategy was to, like, what do they have? They have PCs. They have a very good stronghold in the PC market, personal computer market. So they tried to leverage on that, right? So you can think of it like that. So they have the PC market. They were strategizing in order to how to be better in that particular market. At the same time, Apple also started with the PC market, but then they were very quick to adopt to iTunes, iPods, the iPhone industry. Whereas Microsoft, on the other hand, did not involve into the mobile or tablet arena until very late. And by the time they did, the market was already too crowded with many, many, many players, and it was not as successful, right? So far, it has not been. Microsoft did launch its phone, did launch its tablets, but they did not stand the market, right? Their strategy failed over there. But at the same time, their PC market is still going very strong. Windows is a very good competitor still now. We have either Windows or iOS. There is nothing else, right? Linux is there, but usually people don't use, right? It is, when you talk about the personal computer market, it is still predominantly dominated by either Windows, or if you have the budget, then iOS. So there is this unanimity, no unanimity among the various authors about the elements, as well as these their interactions, as well as how to sequence these elements. It also varies depending upon the organization, depending upon their products, their environment. It varies. So these are a few challenges that any organization could face while formulating its strategies. Now, when you talk about the strategic management process, first and foremost, you have to think about the intent, the strategic intent, that is the direction that we have to take in order to achieve the objective. Then comes the strategic analysis, that is, we analyze the internal as well as external environment. And after the analysis, so you can think of strategic intent as identifying the objectives of formulating the said strategy. Okay, so why are we going for strategy formulation? What is our objective? That is the first thing that you have to point down, right? That is the first thing that you have to write down, the intent of this whole process. Next comes analyzing the business environment. Once you know what it is that you want to achieve, and you know where exactly you are standing in the market through analysis of the environment, you are ready to start developing strategies. That is nothing but the strategic formulation stage. So we would be a fool if we just at the time of strategy formulation, we just make one strategy and leave it at that. We must be fools to do that. We should never be doing that. At least we should have a handful of alternative strategies in order to reach our objective. And once we have a couple of alternative strategies, we will start evaluating each of these strategies in order to choose the best alternative strategy. And once we have chosen the best alternative strategy, we will start executing this chosen strategy, which is nothing but the strategy implementation process. And post implementation, we should ensure that the implemented strategies, these implemented strategies meet the objectives, and if not, how to apply corrective measures in order to meet our objectives. So that is the strategic management process. Let us look at each of these in much more detail, and in this video we will look especially at the intent. That is the very first step at implementing, or you can say in the strategy formulation process, that is the intent. So the intent, as we said, is what you can say, the objective, right, of this entire strategy formulation process. So that depends upon the vision of our organization, the core value and the purpose of our products and services, the mission, objectives and goals, and that will finally translate to the strategic intent. So you can think of it as the entire, what you can say, mm, the entire background of our organization, our vision, mission, our values, the purpose, our objectives and goals, they all are what finally translates into our strategic intent. Let us look at each of these concepts, that is vision, the core value, purpose, mission, objectives and goals, a little bit more in detail. So the first is vision. The vision of our organization, it should be directional, feasible, flexible. It should be a unique thing that, what you can say, demarcates or differentiates us from the other firms or organizations that are operating in the same market or in the same industry. It should be inspiring. It should include our core values, and the vision statement should be very, very clear. So the the vision statement of an organization, it acts as the guiding force, a structure for its strategies. It helps create a well defined workforce. It acts as a motivation. It promotes, or it, you can say, it acts as the final image of the organization. It helps to mold the image of the organization. The core value and purpose, again, is a factor which contributes to the strategic intent. The core values are very essential and they are the enduring beliefs of an organization. And core purpose is actually the main or the sole reason for as to why this organization is existing. Like, for example, let us take the brand Titan. The core purpose of the brand Titan is to provide people with, what you can say, wearable watches, right? Titan, Fast Track, with its ranges like Fast Track, Raga, they give you statement pieces of clockwork, art clockworks, right? So that is the sole purpose, the core purpose, the reason for existence of that organization. Tanishq, the intent or the actual purpose of establishing Tanishq by the Tatas was to familiarize 18 karat daily wear ornaments in the Indian market. That was their core purpose. So that is core purpose. And similarly, core values, which are the beliefs of the organization. Tatas might be believing in experiencing certainty, in believing in Indian roots, in human values, societal upliftment, all those things. So that is their core values. Then comes the mission. So the vision helps in building or defining the core values and the purpose, and that in turn helps in defining the mission of that particular organization. It states the extent and spread of an organization's operations. The mission of an organization should be based on its core values as well as purpose. Now, there are a few elements of a mission statement, like it should define the process, the core values, competitive strength, core competencies, the target market, the products and services we are intending to offer, as well as the distribution network. So, when we formulate the mission statement, it should include all these elements in order for it to be a worthy mission statement which can serve our purpose. Then comes the objectives and goals. That is the final aim of the organization as to why we are formulating the strategy, right? So the objectives and goals are, you can think of them as the measurable form of targets which the organization wants to achieve with our strategy, like increasing the turnover by 20%, maybe expanding into a new market, or increasing customer satisfaction, things like that. They could all be your objectives or your goals. So an effective objective or an effective goal should always be logical, it should be practical, it should be doable, precise, should be consistent with your mission, clear, measurable, and it should be able to produce results. Like, for example, if your mission is to provide good quality educational content for MBA students of IGNOU, then your objective or your goal should be to maybe put out a course on strategic management, or maybe some other topic which would help students in MBA, right? Doing MBA. If you start putting out cooking videos, then it doesn't, if that's not going to match with your mission, right? Your mission was to provide quality content to MBA students, and you're putting out cooking videos. What will the MBA students do with it? Very bad mission, right? It is not, sorry, very bad objective or goal, right? Or it maybe your goal is to, hit a 2K or a 1 million subscriber count, and for that your vision was to provide educational content, or your vision is to inculcate a love of learning, and what you can say, in, make students much more job worthy. Okay, that is your vision, and your core values and your core purpose is to provide educational content that is engaging, and your mission is to help MBA students who are doing distance MBA through maybe IGNOU, and your goal or your objective is to maybe, or your mission might be to reach at least 1 million students. Okay, and the way you're gonna do that, maybe, to reach 1 million subscriber count like that, and the way you're gonna do that, if it is through cooking videos, is not gonna work, right? So that is what I was saying. Your objectives and goals should be consistent with mission, and it should produce results. And with all these things, you finally do create a strategy. So in case you are liking how our course on strategic management is going, consider subscribing to our channel, because it will help me help you and many others like you much better. So our vision, scope, value, purpose, mission, and our objectives and goals finally lead to our strategic intent. And once we have the strategic intent, we proceed to analysis, formulation, choice of strategy in its implementation, evaluation, and control. So let us touch upon the process of strategic analysis, formulation, choice, implementation, and control as well, in brief in this video. We have our upcoming videos wherein we will discuss more in detail and depth about each of these remaining strategic formulation processes. So strategic analysis, it involves, as we said earlier, the analysis of both the internal as well as external environment of the organization. It is conducted so as to ascertain the circumstance under which the organization is currently operating, or we think that it is going to operate in the near future, in order to formulate, that is, come up with possible strategic alternatives in order to reach our goal. Now, the major component of strategic analysis are conducting environmental analysis, assessing the existing strategies to check whether they fulfill the goals, evaluate various strategic alternatives, adopting the most viable of these strategies. Now, formulation of strategy, it actually, that is creating the plans, or you can say mind maps of strategy, is what we mean by saying formulating the strategy, that is giving our strategy a form. So it involves developing strategies at various levels of business as well as organization. So we saw in our last video, where we were discussing on the basic concepts of strategy, that strategy is formulated on three levels. That was on the functional level, the business unit level, as well as the corporate level. So formulation of strategy also involves developing the strategies at all these various levels of business and organization. Strategy is required to be formulated at the global level, corporate level, and even at the functional level. Strategy formulation is preceded by strategic directions, which are shown by the organization's vision, mission, and objectives. That is nothing but the intent and the analysis. Moreover, when a manager formulates these strategies, they formalize it response to the environment of the organization, right? Both the external as well as internal environment, which we term as strategic analysis. So first, we need to develop the mission, vision, and our objectives. We should identify our core purpose and the core values. We do the SWOT analysis or the pestle analysis, which are nothing but different ways of analyzing the environment in which our organization is operating. Then we formulate these alternate strategies, and we choose one of the alternatives by evaluating each of them based on maybe certain parameters, right? And we choose a strategy which we will further go ahead and implement. Now, how do we choose these strategy? Now that we have a lot of different alternatives to maybe achieve a particular goal. Let's say my goal was to hit 1 million subscribers. I might have created a strategy for it, right? Maybe not just one, maybe multiple strategies. If one doesn't work out, I'll switch to the next, right? Now, out of all these different strategies, how do I choose which one to actually implement? The strategic alternatives have to be matched with the actual problem, right? So, as I said earlier, let us take our example of Anu's classroom. Let us assume, okay, that my aim or my objective is to hit 1 million subscribers. So, how will I reach there? I can plan, right? I can say that, okay, I will put out one or two videos every day. Maybe I will get in, maybe I will increase the number of videos. Maybe I'll decrease the number of the length of the video. Maybe I'll increase the length of the videos. Maybe I will put out videos on first semesters, maybe second semester, third semester, like that, right? And maybe I'll get into the notes. Maybe I'll give people notes, things like that. These are all examples, okay? Don't think that I'm giving you out my strategy or my objectives or goals, okay? Let us assume, okay, a fictional Anu's classroom strategy, okay? Now, that is a plan, right? Now, I might have formulated different strategies to hit that 1 million subscribers. Maybe I'll put out more MBA related content, maybe for first semester, maybe I'll put it out for more second semester, maybe I will put out videos on third semester, maybe financial, maybe, the specializations. Maybe I'll put out videos on finance, maybe I'll put out videos on HR, maybe like that. Or I'll maybe put out more short, that could be one strategy. Maybe I'll put out more shorts, right? Short videos, that could be another strategy. Maybe I will put out videos on assignment subtopics. There are different strategies. Or maybe to hit 1 million subscribers, I might decide to put out some cooking videos. But that doesn't correlate with my problem here, right? That doesn't correlate with my vision or mission. So our strategic alternatives must be matched with the problem. While we are making a choice, we have to consider two types of factors. That is, the objective factors, which actually can be quantified, we can measure it, and subjective factors, which cannot be quantified and are based on experience and opinions of people. So, objective factors which can be quantified may be, like, for example, put out two videos, make sure that maybe I will put out more videos on first semester topics, or maybe more videos on second semester topics, or the common compulsory topics. Okay, subjective factors may be based on experience. Like, for example, maybe most of my viewers are in the age gap range of maybe 18 to 30. Then I might have to put out videos which that group of people could relate, right? Or maybe my maybe videos that are not less than 1 hour, or maybe less than 18 minutes, are what hits the most well with audience. Those kind of things, they come with experience, or maybe people's opinion. Some people might say that, hey Anu, if you put out these boring PPT presentations, it's just voiceovers, nobody's gonna like it. Some people may be of the opinion that, in order to make money out of YouTube, you should start selling your stuff. Subjective, right? It might or might not be related, may not be the best for my final objective or goal. So while we are making this choice of which alternative in order to match or finally reach our objective, we have to consider all these different factors. The strategic choice is kind of like a decision making process, where we have these objective ways to make a choice, like corporate portfolio analysis, competitor analysis, industry analysis. When we talk about Anu's classroom, I might go and check how my channel is performing, or I might go and check how other classrooms or other YouTube channels who put out videos for MBA related subjects, how they are putting it out, and how what is their what is their strategy, how are they putting videos out, what is the kind of content they are doing. That is competitive analysis. And industry analysis, as is like, as an industry, the online education platform in YouTube, what kind of content sells the most? Is it for school students? Is it for degree students? Is it for MBA graduates? Is it for maybe computer programming? Is it for maths? Is it for commerce? Is it for humanities? Is it for UGC net? Such things, industry analysis. So based on all these things, I would choose my strategy. Then comes the implementation of the chosen strategy. right? Strategic implementation, it is the process of converting the strategies that we have created, the strategy as in the strategic theories. Okay. Strategies can never be plans. Like if you have a strategy, uh, and if somebody says, have you proven this strategy before, is it a proven strategy, then they're asking about plans. Okay, strategy cannot be proven until it is implemented and evaluated. So um, it is at best you can think of strategy as a theory which you think will work. Okay, so the process of converting these strategies into practice is what is strategic implementation, and it involves setting our goals, developing our plans, structuring it, allocating resources to it. So structuring the plan, allocating the resources also to the plan, communicating these plans and goals to the people who will be involved in implementing it, motivating the people who are involved in it, and establishing leadership is all required while we are talking about implementing our strategies. So the operationalizing of strategies, pardon my slip of tongue, plus the institutionalization of these strategies, then evaluation and control. All these three things, operationalization, that means putting our strategies into operation by communicating our plans and goals. Okay. Institutionalization of these strategies, that is establishing these strategies, motivating the employees and establishing of leadership, evaluating and controlling the strategy once it is implemented. All these things come under implementation of strategies. Now, the we talked about evaluation and control. So generally, when we think about control, it is you can think of it in two ways. Okay, a short term control or a long term control. So short term is maybe the operational things, maybe 1 year or in 1 year or less. And strategic control is for the long term, that is 5 years or more. Okay, so the final phase of the strategic management process is the strategic evaluation and control. In this step, we ensure that the implemented strategies do meet their objectives and goals, and if it is not, then we have to perform required corrective actions. So strategy evaluation and control is a very much ongoing process. It entails a feedback. You implement the strategy, you see how it is performing, and you get the feedback, and then you adjust the future or the next implementation steps. So it is a closed loop system, if you can think, and it provides for the continuous monitoring of the process of these implemented strategies. So the long-term control includes the premise control, implementation control, special alert control, and strategic surveillance. And the operational control, which is very short term, includes budgeting, scheduling, management control systems, feedback control, and division performance management. So like for example, you create a budget that is for 1 year, right? Then but at the same time you are implementing the strategy on maybe expanding to the global markets. Okay, like for example, let us say you are the owner of a small retail chain, and your aim is to expand into different states. Maybe say I'm based in Kerala, I want to expand to Tamil Nadu and say Karnataka. That is my objective. So I would be hoping to achieve this expansion maybe in a couple of years, not just in 1 year, right? In a couple of years. So for that, I will definitely have a plan of action wherein I will, you know, keep a sequence of steps where I will say, for example, first I will expand to, I'm operating in Thrissur, first I will expand to maybe Ernakulam and say Kozhikode. After that, I will expand to say Mangalore and Bangalore. Then I will expand to Chennai, maybe Coimbatore. Like that. I'll have a sequence of steps which will be spread out, like phase by phase I will be implementing my strategy. Like phase 1 I will expand to Kochi, phase 2 I'll expand to Kozhikode, like that, right? Then phase 3 I will expand to Coimbatore, phase 4 I'll expand to Mangalore. So for each of these phases, maybe it will be spread out in maybe in 5 or 6 years. Finally I should reach these three states. I should have presence in these three states. That might be my long term strategy. So I will definitely be including budgets, right? So this 1 year I have so and so budget to expand to Kochi. So based on that budget, I will think of my cost and my expansion strategy. Same way, after expanding to Kochi and maybe Kozhikode or maybe Coimbatore, I'll still be surveying whether I am stable in Kochi or Kozhikode or Mangalore, like that, right? So that is the strategic surveillance. So that is the long term as well as short term operational controls. So with that, we are coming to the end of this video. I hope right now after this you are uh, in a better position to tell about how the importance of strategy formulation, the process of strategy formulation, and such things. So until we meet again in the next video in the same strategic management series, goodbye. If you like this video and you want to get updated on any new video we post, consider subscribing and hitting that notification icon. It will help me very much in reaching to more people just like you.